So, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Karaoke Andy here, and today we're going to trade live the DAX. And let me check if I'm in fact live and not yapping to myself here. I hope I am. Yeah, looks like it. No views yet. Where are you guys? Come on. All right. So, anyway, today is the 8th of April 26. And a little disclaimer. This is no financial advice. Only for educational purposes. Trading involves risks, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Always conduct your own research before trading. This stream and its recording is for educational purposes only and includes an affiliate link. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, we have to talk about this. Right? This is a massive gap up. Now we were closing shy below 23,000, and we opened up 24,000 something, right? So it was a massive gap up, over 1,000 points. So that, of course, is due to the news of a ceasefire in the US-Iranian conflict. I haven't read up on that yet, whether that holds or whatever. But that explains that overnight the futures market was basically exploding. So and our job is now to see if we see acceptance above the overnight high, which came in at 24,245, or if you see a rotation back into lower levels, right? So anyway, I trade with Trade Nation. Before that, I was trading with TD365, and for me, nothing changed. TD365 is now under the umbrella of the bigger unit. Always belonged to Trade Nation. Why should you consider trading with them? Because it saves you a lot of money, low and fixed spreads, right? Compare for yourself. And yeah, if you want to give them a shot, kindly use my little code here. You can also find it on my website, karaokeandy.com. You can scan this QR code. That gives me a little boost. Comes at no extra cost for you, to you. Yeah, would be happy if you did that. I also started to make a while ago this is absolutely free. It's no strings attached. Little beginner's guide to trading. You can find that on my YouTube channel. You can scan this QR code again. It's also linked on my website. All right. So the plan for today, I will use entry techniques from Tom Hugard. They are ideal for live trading since they occur predictably, right, at fixed times. Today, let's see if we do the school run, maybe the advanced school or aggressive school run, or the anti or whatever comes in. Anyway, so that's for the presentation. Now let's look at the DAX. So we see the current 50-minute bar. Let me change to a Trade Nation chart. Okay. So DAX closed at 22,921. And now we're trading over 1,000 points higher. Right? The first 15-minute bar is concluding in 5 seconds and is closing at its lows. So On this chart here, there seems to be a physical gap. However, on trading view, also the sources Trade Nation here is not that physical gap. So I don't know. It's maybe just because that is such an irregularity that there's maybe just some difficulties for them to have their feed straight or whatever, their data feed straight. So let's not read too much into it. So the overnight high on my chart here comes in at 24,245. We're now trading way below that. And of course, there is some downside potential now, but let's see. Let's see also if we see some follow through here. This might not be an easy one, ladies and gentlemen, because when you have an imbalanced market like that, continuation up, it's not so likely. Like one might think that you just press buy and it goes up. There's certainly a lot of opportunity to take profits for those who run their positions overnight. So let's see if that is already enough profit taking here, or we see some more. So the low of the current 15-minute bar is 81.9. The previous was 82.7. So we went slightly below. But in my book, that is still, you could still consider that an inside bar. Yeah. Look at the candle range here. That's a massive candle already, right? Almost 170 points. Did I calculate that correctly? 175. Better be safe than sorry. Yeah, okay. So that is 75 plus 18, right? $57 plus 18. Good morning. So 75 points. So now the big question, if this school run signal bar here concludes in 10 minutes, what are we going to do? Will we trade the regular school run, or shall we go anti? Yeah? What does that mean? So will we buy above or will we short above? Will we buy below or will we short below? So in a couple of seconds, also the aggressive school run bar will conclude. So it would call for a long above and a short below. I'm trying to short the DAX here. So the reason being is that so I'm eyeballed here something like a 38.2% retracement. So if we see a continuation down, this might be a place to go. A deeper retracement to the 61.8% mark would also be acceptable. I put a stop loss of 100 points in roughly. I believe if we trade back near the high here, then the short idea can be dismissed. Today I'm trying to catch a runner, not to go for fast profit. So this was an early attempt. Oh, that's shooting up. Already 30 points offside. Okay. Would have been better off if we went traditional, right? Yeah, that is shooting through all the levels. I switched off the size, but obviously the size is can't be as big as I would trade with a 50-point stop loss. So if that trade turns, now would be a great time. Anyway, so I'm now thinking what to do. Anyway, when the school run concludes. Shall we go anti? Or shall we buy the DAX? We are not trading outside the overnight range, but at the very top of it. Yeah, that's not happening, right? On a normal day, 85 points or something like that, that would be already, that would be great, huh? Two more minutes to go. I'm close to being stopped out on my short position. Seems to be profit taking is done. So maybe today okay, now we're deflating a little bit. don't seem to be able to scroll around in my chart. Give me a second. Let me try to fix that. Okay. There we go. So now only a couple points offside. And I got even close to break even. If you look at it like that, there is a lot of downside potential, right? So the midpoint of the overnight range comes in at 23,657. Which is around here. I'll be happy with that. Let's mark that down. Somewhere around there. Yeah. But let's first see. Still can go up. And now we got some buyers in again and my position is red again. This was not a convincing close, right, of the previous 15-minute bar here. Bullish, yes. Closed above the midpoint of the previous bar, yes, but look, there's also still here quarter, almost a third of a upper shadow. And visually an inside bar, which always shows indecisiveness. But who would have thought, right? We're down here in the 21,000 territory. Now we're back in the 24,000s. Interestingly, we closed here at this, around this low here. Yesterday. There's still some trades of me hidden there. Okay. Position is again ever so slightly in profit, and why I was saying that, come on, Daxi. Come on, bear, sell a little bit more. thinking of closing this. And wait for a better entry. Because this is no man's land, right? We're in the middle of the range here. There's no follow through yet. Seven closed, not below 5, certainly below 6. Now it's going to happen. I shorted at a level where it seems to be very hard for the bears to hold below. It's always just dipping a few points. Maybe now. I took half off here, reducing a little bit my exposure. And this is not clearly breaking. And when the market tries to break a level often enough and fails, it might do the opposite. So I'm fearful that this could in fact shoot up. So around my entry, I took half off. But we're also trading there at the low of 3 most of the time. I believe should we trade below 2, I would add back into the trade. I would be, if we see new lows for the day, I would be convinced that we can see more downside. But right now, still not breaking that level there. Okay, I'm closing this now, and I will rather wait for a clean setup. So, probably nothing lost on this one, nothing won. So let's wait before we get out of this bloody range. Lovely decision on my part. Okay, let's go. So, normally, this would dictate an ante that we would buy below here. Since we're also trading at the top, near the top of the overnight range. This was not so convincing, guys. Well, okay, I didn't expect it to be easy, but that it's such a bloody range. So I shorted around here, right? Yeah, around here. Here started to scale out. Tiniest of a loss, nothing spectacular. If we see new lows for the day, maybe today we should sell the DAX. But imagine if this was a downtrend and you had such a deep retracement. Is that convincing to sell there? Or shall we just try the anti-play instead? I'm so indecisive today. Risking 150 points on a hunch. So we closed at the lows. of 3 and 4. This was a convincing bear close. The low came in at 82.6. Still not below 4. Immediately some buyers stepping in below prior bar low. Lots of overlap now with the previous bar. Not a clear and fast breakout. We just stayed short here stubbornly. Could have gotten out here at the low. It's a 50 pointer. Today is not a normal day. Or maybe it is. I just want it to be different, right? Because after that big move here, maybe we're just late to the party. I'm not sure I want my stop loss all the way up there. Maybe here. So maybe this breaks now.
Order filled.
We are filled. Oh, sorry, something wrong with my zoom here. New lows for the day. Okay. Still technically an anti-setup, so buying here would be appropriate. But since this market is so imbalanced, I believe we could see a little bit more downside. But what do I know? But so far not convincing for the bulls. There's more red than blue on my chart. That's what I know. New lows for the day. I don't know, sorry, what's with my zoom here? Smart zoom is also not what I want. Anyways, you guys you can see my screen, right? You can see that properly. So this here is about the overnight midpoint. Let's give a little bit of space there. If we make 300 points on that, we would be happy, right? But so far, what the hell? So maybe anti is a good idea. Come on, bears. Push that down a little more. This market is indecisive as fuck. But so far, we're trading lower. Still trading at the low of all previous bars. Just not sure if I want my stop loss even only up here. Because if that turns around, yeah, it's always the risk that below prior bar low buyers are stepping in, and that we continue to see this piano pattern here. Black, white, you know. It's not a professional term, but Tom Hugard has his charts black and white. And many textbook authors like Al Brooks seem to prefer it that way. So they can print it out. And then you have bearish candles who are black, bullish candles who are white, and you got a piano pattern. So I don't like being offside again. I'm a breakout trader. I want clean breaks. I don't want to. I mean, this is like almost 100% overlap, right? What do I expect? Like that it now suddenly moves. This is chop. And now I'm a little bit regretting not buying here. Because if you look at the last bars, we could at least, you know, scalp the overlap, which is significant. Right? Would always have been a good idea. To buy at the close, to sell at the close, to buy at the close. Oh, maybe now. Let me wait for the close of this one, and then let's decide what we will do. I'm not at all convinced we see a trend day at this point, something that I hoped would happen. To short here was the right idea, but you know, my stop loss was over 100 points and almost got stopped out, you know. And we were struggling to break this level, so I just closed out here. Waited for a cleaner setup. I was then contemplating to either short if we make new lows, which we ended up doing. So still short bias. But going contrarian to what the usual setup dictate, which is going anti-school run here, which would be to buy at this level. So I'm not at all convinced that there will be a bigger move, but now we are making new lows again. Okay. More lows in the DAX. Let's wait for the close. Not too convincing, you know. I would prefer to be at its lows. But maybe now there's some follow through for the bears. At least we closed below all previous bars. If that was a more convincing close, down here, would probably have added to that position. I'm still afraid that this might turn around. because there's still the anti in play. We would have needed at least 100-point stop loss here, given that candle range, right? So I also want to see at least something like 75 points in profit before I move stop loss to break even. And if I choose to do that earlier, then just because I'm not that convinced still that we will really see so much downside. And there we go. And boom, position is again at entry. $35 points maybe at best in profit, which on a normal day would be okay, you know. 35 points, wouldn't be too unhappy about that. But today we still have 100-point stop loss. Yeah? $108 people watching. I think I switched on the chat. If you have a question, kindly put it in. Guys, I'm just trying to navigate here a not so easy environment. It's not clear to me at all if there's any major direction in this. Especially after that big news, which is basically a fundamentally a market that is moved by fundamentals, and how are participants reacting to that? You know, they certainly are like, okay, we are 1,000 points or so up, let's take some profit, and then that might, after some profit taking, might attract some buyers who don't want to miss out, maybe that we revisit all-time highs. We're not so far away from that anymore. But then again, there will be those who are like, who knows what that ceasefire will bring. If the Strait of Hormuz is indeed free, if oil tankers can pass through, is our industry safe? Can German companies produce? You know, I'm not a fundamentals guy, you know, you probably have noticed that by now. So, okay, but new lows. $60 points in profit. I will move stop loss down to around here. Also interesting, if I stayed short here, where I shorted before, that would have been a nice profit already, huh? Is that a little bit too tight there? I don't know. Almost feels like nothing, right? We could also set everything on one card and just put it to break even, but then we will probably wait for a 5-minute close. Let's see if we can close below 13. I mean, see that this retracement surely was more shallow, the last one. On this one, still a lot of overlap. Oh, sorry. Okay. What is happening now here is, I don't want to interpret too much into it. This is, but here's certainly some support. But liquidity must have been so thin here. Okay, made a new low, closed in its upper third. Not read too much into this price action. let's wait for this bar to close. As long as it's still red, all is good, but it can turn at any point. So if we get back to entry, it would be then the case for the anti would come into play again, right? What can we do? If we are short, stop loss is in place. I'm not entirely uncomfortable. At this point, I'm rather short than long. One more minute to go. Bull close. Now let's watch this carefully. I mean, when you have a candle that makes a new low but closes at or near its highs, that could be a turning point, especially back at entry here. Then the school run anti would come into place again, at which point this setup, being short, might be considered invalidated. My mouse is hovering over the reverse position button. the other hand, made lower lows and lower highs. Technically. Do I still have a good reason to be short? Lots of overlap here. Looked more like a trading range. A 5-minute lower highs, lower lows. Lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low. So, and if we trade above this area here, yeah, then that short is invalidated. So the stop loss is in a good place, actually. Would I now flip the switch? How likely is it that the anti is in play? On a normal day, very likely. On a day like this, let's wait if we get a 5-minute close. One, two, three bars. 1, 2, 1. It's very messy, huh? shall we be rather long the DAX? Just because of a 15-minute bar that made a new low and closed near its high. After we opened at 24,137, we're now trading at below 23,979. Since we closed below here, that range here that was early established, we broke out of that. The question is how convincingly. So 17 is now trading lower again. Let's wait for the close. I would like to see a close below 16. Hope for continuation, one more push down. There we go. I will put stop loss now down above this swing here, risking only 17 points. And I will want to stop streaming now. We're streaming for an hour and 15 minutes. So this either continues down or I'm stopped out. I'm simply not want to engage more in this slow grinding mess. You guys shouldn't do what I do, right? This is only educational, but should you find yourself in the same position, you would take now 40 something points, 45 of profit. I might as well put stop loss to break even here and go to the gym and let's see what will happen. Anyway, guys, so that's me for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Karaoke Andy out.